Here's the iPad Mini 6, and I know that the main headline for this is basically it's the smaller iPad. But despite that, I couldn't wait to get my hands on one, especially after seeing one in person. I mean, look at it, it's just really small. And because of the smaller screen and the relatively lower specs, it's not a multitasking monster. Not even the best iPad, technically speaking, but it is my favorite. Now, I won't be diving deep into the tech specs of this thing because, frankly, it just feels like any other iPad to me. Obviously, there are some aspects of the more expensive ones that separate it from this, such as the 120Hz refresh rate, the faster chip, and most obvious, the size. But with my own personal use, I find using this versus my iPad Pro to be practically the same, but also different. You see, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro that I have is the perfect productivity companion for me because I send emails, write scripts, and respond to comments or messages using that most of the time. And since I have it attached to the Magic Keyboard, I also take this around the kitchen when I'm preparing my meals or when I'm outside. The screen is large and bright, which makes viewing media very enjoyable, and the 120Hz refresh rate is still very much noticeable to me. But as much as I love the screen size, I think the overall size and weight makes it a bit less portable. I know, crazy first world problems, right? But hear me out. The iPad Pro is awesome at what it does. And for me, a huge chunk of my work is done using the email app, Apple's Notepad, and the calendar. Google Drive and other web-based Google products are also very much used using this device. But in truth, I also want to use the tablet just to relax and maybe have fun. And the size of the iPad Pro takes a bit away from that. When the iPad Mini 6 came out, I wasn't really sold on it until one of my friends got one and I saw how small it actually was. It feels like an extra large phone, but because it's not a phone, it doesn't feel ridiculous to hold. As a tablet, it looks and feels kind of fun. The screen size is just right for watching movies and YouTube videos, and reading content online feels natural and enjoyable. And this brings me to my point as to why this is my favorite iPad. To me, it brings back the enjoyment of using a device such as this. Because when we talk about the latest iteration of just about any device, we're oftentimes stuck in this mindset of whether or not it can perform certain tasks that will or should make our lives a bit easier. And even though the iPad Mini 6 is just about as capable as any other iPad, I just don't think about Google Docs or Sheets or even responding to emails when I'm using this. Because this device has become my go-to for unwinding and, ironically, disconnecting. One of my favorite things to do with this tablet is to read comic books, and being able to comfortably hold this with one hand makes it feel natural to read and swipe between pages. Now, watching YouTube content is also great because even if I watch vertically, the horizontal screen size is still comparable to watching on my iPhone mini in full screen. I can doodle with this using the Apple Pencil, and even the front-facing wide-angle camera is a welcome addition when I'm goofing around with my kids. And honestly, between them, myself, and my wife, well, we're always fighting over this. My wife loves using this for looking up recipes and shopping. Maybe unfortunately, my kids love using this for their games over the bigger iPad and even the biggest iPhone that we have at home. The iPad Mini 6 seems to have hit that sweet spot in terms of size to cater both to adults and kids. I think today, especially when you're working from home, it's even more important to really set boundaries for yourself. Because it's so easy for me to get too caught up with the work, especially when no one's telling me when to stop or take a break or go home. And because of this, I actually had to go through some tough moments in which I was basically forced to take a break to just keep my sanity or catch up on some sleep. So when I pick up this iPad, my mind almost automatically tells me that I am not here to work. I am here to enjoy my time. And since I'm doing that, it's also important for me to be in a space that inspires the same feeling. I like to sit next to natural light as much as possible, but if I find myself unwinding during the later hours of the day, it's nice to have a light source that is soft and inviting. This lamp right here is called the Artifox Table Light, a special collaboration between premium lighting manufacturer Gantry and The Artifacts, a furniture and accessories company focused on subtle yet mindful design. It's modern and interestingly retro at the same time. And I love the fact that it's so subtle that it almost encourages me to just sit back and relax. The light itself is gentle and warm to the eyes, which further enhances that relaxing experience. I also use this magnetic mount for the iPad mini that can rotate depending on my preference. It's also a clean and beautiful solution to store my iPad when not in use. Personally, I was kind of surprised it took me this long to find a simple magnetic stand that doesn't require you to have a special case. So in essence, the iPad mini 6 has taught me to be mindful again. It's funny, I know, that I need a separate device just so I can disconnect that part of my brain that wants to keep working. But hey, the mind is a very interesting and mysterious thing. I suppose it's similar to why some people have multiple vehicles or maybe different types of footwear. We associate a lot of how we feel with these objects, and they in turn influence how we behave when we interact with them. Plus, strangely enough, when I'm waiting around for my wife and kids, not only do I feel more relaxed when I'm using this versus my phone, I also look a lot less bored or stressed. I actually look like I like waiting. And you know what? As long as I have this with me, I don't mind that at all. Thank you for watching this video, and if you'd like to check out the table light, I've provided a link at the very top of the description box below, as well as the link to the MagFit magnetic stand on Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as that helps me grow, and make sure you hit that bell icon to be notified if I upload something new. Have an awesome week, you guys, and be mindful of how you spend your time. I'll see you guys again soon.